Hello everybody, today we've got in Chris South from Later Living Now and JP. Chris is going to go through equity release. He's an equity release specialist, and without further ado, JP.
Thank you, and thanks for coming in today, Chris. Really appreciate it. This video is going out for my clients on the website to know about equity release, and I've been working with Chris for about 5 years now. So Chris, could you give us a breakdown of equity release so people know what it's all about, please? So if you could just explain what it is and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a specialist. I've been working with in this industry for the last 15 years. I was previously in mortgages, but entered into the market 15 years ago. So I've got experience of older plans, today's modern plans, how they work, how they're calculated, and I give advice, regulated advice to give to those clients that come and approach yourself if you're unable to obtain a mortgage at retirement. I have worked for a few companies over the last several years, and I work with a company called Later Living Now, and we're specialists. This is the only thing that we do, is advise on this marketplace of equity release or later life lending.
Right, so people watching in now, what is equity release?
Equity from the property is the bricks and mortar value from the property, which you can then use for your use and spend at retirement. And
Right.
It's calculated based on the youngest person's age and the value of the property.
And what is the youngest person's age, Chris?
Youngest person's age to be 55 to qualify. That's entry into the market, and it's from 55 upwards all the way through to 95 years old.
Great. So how is equity release regulated, please, if you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's regulated through different ways. So the advice is regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority, the providers are regulated by the Prudential Regulation Authority, and the market has its own trade body, which is the Equity Release Council.
Right. Okay, and what are the protections under the Equity Release Council?
So under the Equity Release Council, the product providers have a code of conduct to follow. The main points are that the plan has to give you lifetime tenure.
Got it.
Okay, so you have to have you will be provided a lifetime tenure of your property. That the plan can be portable. So if your circumstances change, you can transfer the plan to another property subject to survey and bricks and mortar. So you are not effectively static in your own home. You can transfer and move if you wanted to do so. You can redeem the plan early. So you can pay off the plan early if you wish to, but there might be an early repayment charge. And obviously check for terms and conditions on the product if you were to do that, or take financial advice. And it comes with a no negative equity guarantee. So basically that means that if you ever owe more money than the value of the house at the end, the risk is with the provider. You cannot leave a debt to your beneficiaries.
Right, thanks for that. So are we talking about people aged 55 upwards that have no mortgage on the house at all, or some people have mortgage on the house at all that you help?
Yeah, so two ways, two different areas. First of all, we can help people with no mortgage, so the property is unencumbered, therefore that you can release money on an unencumbered property, and obviously you'll benefit from the full release of the money that you're going to raise off the house. If there's a mortgage in place or any security that's secured against the property, that has to be repaid first before you can release any additional cash.
Right. And what about these people's income and all that kind of thing? If they are on low earnings, state pensions, how does that all look like to do?
So the calculation is based on the youngest person's age and the value of the house, and you get a percentage released based on that youngest person's age. There was a bit of health involved as well, so impairment of health can enhance the amount you release from a property or could reduce the interest rate. There is no income and affordability criteria to set up a lifetime mortgage.
None at all?
No, because it's purely and simply the asset of the property value and the youngest person's age.
So you're helping people out in all different scenarios to get their money out of their house for all sorts of reasons, to help them towards a pension, family deposits for children and things of that nature.
That's right. So what happens is that we come across clients that first of all have a mortgage where they've come to the end of the term, they cannot remortgage the mortgage market, so you refer clients to me, and I can see those clients and look at some form of lifetime mortgage to restructure that plan into. We use a lifetime mortgage for gifting money. So Bank of Mum and Dad, for example, helping their children or maybe even their grandchildren with money now, perhaps using that money as a deposit to help them get onto the housing ladder. It could be for home improvements in the property. It could be used for lifestyle funding, day-to-day living expenditure. It could be used for holidays. It could be for a car purchase. It could be for medical care, home care in the property if anyone needed care at that time. So it can be used for many, many different reasons.
Okay, thanks for that. Could you give us a couple of scenarios of cases that you've done, please? Just so people watching in could get an idea of what you've actually done for people. Just ages and names and amounts. You don't have to mention names, sorry.
So you know, in the market, you know, a client may have a property value of say 250, and they've got a £45,000 mortgage secured against it. They've hit the end of the term. They're now 70 years old. They're unable to remortgage into the mortgage market, and the lender's asking for the money to be paid back, and within following about 6 months. And then what happens is that I go and see the client, complete a fact find with the client, and now obviously because of COVID-19, I can actually give advice on Zoom, over the phone, on Teams. We prefer family to be present as well. Family to be present there within the interview, complete a fact find, and then I then go away, do the research to get the right plan to meet their needs. Check the means of benefits as well, if they're receiving any state benefits, whether there's any impact or not on those, or whether they are eligible for that at all. And then I would look at a product in the market and recommend a plan based on their needs and circumstances.
That's great, thanks for that. And tell me about fixed rates, lump sums. How do they draw the money down, and how long does the process take?
Yeah, so the products in the market, so typically a lifetime mortgage works where typically you don't make any monthly payments,
right,
and the money is repaid when the last survivor passes away. It goes into permanent long-term care plus the interest that's accrued over that life of the plan. However, because it's obviously a fixed rate of interest for life, you know how much you're going to owe in the future because it's fixed for the whole lifetime of the plan.
Got it.
If you wish to, you could pay payments at the plan in order to service the interest on an ad hoc basis, or if not, pay capital. So if you wish to control the plan and not allow the plan to roll up interest, you could make payments at it. And most plans give you the facility of anywhere between sort of 10 to 15% each year that you can pay out the plan. You can raise money on a lump sum basis, or you can have a drawdown. So the benefit of a drawdown is by taking an initial release amount, let's say 12,500, and have a drawdown facility, for example, for 15,000, and draw off that extra money when as needed in bite-sized amounts.
Thank you.
And what you can have in the market, we have a drawdown, we have a lump sum, you can do fixed interest only payments, and you can do plans which are based on health circumstances. And also there is a provider out there that provides income in the market as well now. So you can actually draw down some form of income on a regular basis from your property in order to be able to perhaps bridge the shortfall of income needs.
Right. And these are people that I can't clearly help being an independent broker, because it's all about affordability, and they're usually outside of that age group and don't have any income.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long does it take to release the funds?
So it generally takes around about sort of anywhere between sort of 5 to 7 weeks to release the funds, depending on provider, depending on solicitors, and it is a set process that we work towards. So once we've given the advice, an application, and you were happy to proceed, an application goes into the provider, the property gets surveyed, and based on the survey we produce a mortgage offer, and then the solicitor would then act to give independent legal advice. Under Equities Council rules, they'd come and see you independently to go through the mortgage deed, witness you sign the mortgage deed and date, and then they would then send that off to the lender solicitor along with any additional paperwork in order for the completion date to be set.
Right. So the solicitor would come out to the house and see them?
Yeah, most solicitors will come and see, under the Equities Council rules, will give independent legal advice and make sure that they are happy to proceed and witness their documents being signed and dated before any kind of completion would happen.
So there must be loads of people out there, for instance, who've got a £300,000 house, they owe 80,000 on it, and all of a sudden the bank's knocking on the door, give us our 80,000, and they're worried, they don't know what to do. This is where you come in.
That's right. So, you know, sort of under certain client vulnerability, we want to make sure that clients are being looked after and making sure they're getting the right advice, and we'll give them the right advice. So making sure that if that's the most appropriate thing for them to do, absolutely we'd be able to look at their circumstances and restructure that plan, for example, as long as they hit eligibility, underage, property value, and they were happy to proceed.
So you'd pay the 80,000 off, and the rest of the money they could draw down if they want to?
If, for example, they were looking at, if, for example, they had an available drawdown facility off the back of that, then you could have that available. If it was the maximum lump sum they were releasing in order to redeem that plan, then there wouldn't be any other additional cash to draw, because that would be the maximum release in order to repay that 80,000.
Right. And what are the common uses for equity release in your day-to-day?
Yeah, so again, it's generally remortgaging, so it'll be to repay a mortgage, repay an interest-only mortgage, maybe repay a capital repayment mortgage, maybe to repay unsecured credit in order to be able to produce more income or give them a greater disposable income each month to use for other lifestyle purposes. It could be to gift money to family, it could be gift money to for them to be able to get on the housing ladder, their children, to act as a deposit. It could be for their lifestyle funding, it could be to produce them an emergency fund if something were to happen for unexpected capital expenditure. It could be used for holidays, anything really. Anything could be used from an equity release lifetime mortgage release of funds.
I suppose all your advice and recommendation fits very nicely in with having a will and a lasting power of attorney.
Absolutely. So what we want to do is make sure when we complete a fact find, first of all, we want to make sure they have capacity, because we want to make sure that they're able to understand what we're talking about. As part of the advice process, we'll ensure that we talk about have they got a will, have they got a power of attorney in place, and if they haven't, recommend that those should be done in order to look after the estate whilst they're alive, and also what happens once they've died, making sure that the will is how they wish their estate to be left to whoever as beneficiaries.
Right, and in your experience, Chris, do elderly people find this hard to get their head round?
Yeah, it's a concept which does need independent advice, it does need specialist advice. I'd recommend anyone looking at this is to take specialist advice, because it is a concept, it's a marketplace which has got 350 to 400 products out there from providers which commonly you may have heard of, but some of them you may not have heard of. The plans are becoming more complex, so independent whole of market specialist advice is most important when you're taking a plan like this out.
And what kind of clients unfortunately don't fit where it falls down for them that you go and see? You give us some ideas of people that for all sorts of reasons they can't get equity release.
Yeah, I mean generally the main reason, it might be that the lending against the property is too high.
Right.
So it may be that, let's say if you were 55 and you had a property value of 250 and you owed 200 against the property value, then that wouldn't work. Okay. Or certain property types might not be suitable, for example. So if you have a property which is located right next to for example, a petrol station, that may not be the most suitable security to get lending against.
Right.
Anything that's really next to anything that's heavy industrial would not be generally suitable.
Okay, but for most people you can help out.
Most people we can help can consider property types, bricks and mortar, traditional build, apartments, some retirement property as well, but it's got to be the main residence.
Right. And from them meeting you and seeing you for the first time to drawing down the money, how long is the duration altogether? How quick can it be or how slow can it be?
Yeah, it generally takes around about sort of 5 to 7 weeks or so to complete. Obviously sometimes there are things that do get in the way, but generally speaking, on average, that's around the relative time scale.
And obviously, due to the circumstances we're living in today, COVID, you can't go and visit people at the moment, I believe. Is that right?
That's right. So what we do is we can arrange a fact find interview over the phone, by Zoom or by Teams, to make sure we've got social distancing in place.
And with the family all involved as well?
And the family involved, we encourage the family to be involved. We'll always discuss with clients if the family aren't present, whether they have actually discussed this with their family or not.
That's great. That's fantastic. Well, thanks for coming in today. And what I'd like to say, anybody watching at all, by all means, go to my website, jp-mortgages.co.uk, and there's one of Chris's forms on there. equity release. Fill the form out, send it back to us, and you'll have a contact from Chris.
Yeah, and I just want to mention Chris is a specialist in this. It's his bread and butter. It is his daily, so easier to look after you.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's what I've been specialising in for the last 15 years.
Yeah, there you go.
And I've got all the qualifications to give advice in this marketplace.
And finally, do you have a panel kind of legal people that you work with all the time in this field, regular?
Yeah, so I work with solicitors which are Equities Council member solicitors as well. I'm an Equities Council member as well.
Fantastic.
So we're there to look after your client and make sure that they're getting the right advice along the whole way of releasing money on a lifetime mortgage.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I will leave Chris's details in the description. But yeah, any last words, JP?
That's great. Just go to the website,
Yeah.
fill out the equity release form, give us a call, and we'll put you in touch with Chris, and we'll get your problem sorted out.
Thank you, JP, and thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.